All right, guys, so now that you've had a chance to try this a little bit on your own, I'm going to go through a couple things just to remember with this. First of all, always good to remind ourselves how to graph some lines, right? So when we're solving a system of equations, we know that where these two lines intersect is going to be our solution. Now, why is that the case? It's because we're trying to look for when this y value for the pink line here and this y value for the purple line here are the same. Notice, if I'm going along my pink line here and I'm looking at my y value, what is the y value of this point right here? Let's take a look. The point of intersection. My y value is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so y is 3 at this case, okay, in this point. And then for the purple line, what is my y value? Well, it's 3 again. So the reason why, when we are solving these algebraically, we are looking for where they are equal, or we set them equal to each other, is because we want to know what is that point where both the y values are the same, okay? We want to know what x value that is. So when we set these equal to each other, and you guys tried this on your own, if we're trying to solve this algebraically, okay, and we are trying to use our method of substitution where we set these two equations equal to each other, we're trying to figure out what x value it is. So what x value it is where these two lines have the same y value. So the x value in this case should be 1, 2, 3, 4, because at 4, that's where this point is, where they both share that point. So when I'm solving this equation, first of all, I'm taking both of these equations, I'm taking their right sides, so the part that has the x and the numbers, okay, and I'm setting them equal to each other, right? So I'm substitution method. I'm going to do 3 over 2 x minus 3, and that is equal to negative 5/4 x plus 8. Why are they equal? Because I'm trying to figure out what is the point where they are equal, where they are the same, where they cross. Okay, now that I have this, I need to solve it. So let's do that. One variable equation. In order to solve it, I first need to find whether I have variables on both sides. Right now I do, right? I have this 3 over 2x over on this side and the negative 5 over 4x on this side. Now you're going to see how it gets a little bit complicated when we start looking at fractions. So this is negative 5/4. I need to do the opposite of minusing 5/4 x, which would be adding 5/4 x, because I want to get rid of the x on the right side. I only want to have x's on one side, preferably on the left. So I'm going to get rid of the one on the right. It also is negative, and it's always nice to get rid of the negative numbers. So I'm going to add 5/4 x to both sides. Now, what is 3 halves plus 5/4? I don't know that off the top of my head, but guess what? I don't need to. All right, let's use our handy dandy Desmos calculator. So I'm doing 3 halves plus 5/4, and that gives me 2.75. Let's keep it as a fraction, 11/4. So let's come back to here. Okay, I have 11/4 here, x for my answer, minus 3, equal sign on the line, okay, and then over on the right side, I still have my positive 8. I don't need the plus sign if it's just the only thing over there. Now I have what looks like just a regular two-step equation, so I'm going to actually pull this over to the right side because I'm running out of room, okay. So I'm going to rewrite this, and then we will solve this two-step equation, right? So 11/4 x minus 3 equals 8. This is a regular two-step, okay? It's all set up nice and neat for us. So let's solve it. Separate my things here because I'm going to have to use this side to find my y value, as you guys already know. You tried this on your own. Okay, so we are going to solve this two-step. First thing I do in a two-step, I look for the constant. That's the term that does not have the variable. That's this negative 3. I got to get rid of it. How do I get rid of a negative 3? I add 3. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So I'm adding 3 to both sides. Okay, when I do that, my left side, all I have left is my 11/4 x. So I'm bringing that down. good practice from things we learned in the beginning of the year. Equal sign on the line. Okay, and now I'm adding these together. 8 plus 3 gives me an 11. Okay, and then the last step here is division. Okay, we're dividing because this is 11/4 times x. So we divide by the number next to x. Okay, we're dividing by 11/4. Again, I don't know how to divide by 11/4 necessarily, but I do know that Desmos knows how to do it. So Desmos is going to be your best friend for things like this. Notice how it gets real sloppy. Not sloppy, but just complicated, a little bit more complicated when we start looking at fractions. That's why this one was nice and easy to solve when we graphed it. Algebraically, it's a lot more challenging. Some are more challenging with algebra, some are more challenging with graphing, okay? So we have 11 divided by 11/4. We're going to do that in our Desmos calculator. So 11 divided by, and I'm going to put 11/4 in parentheses because it is all one number. I need to make sure that it's all contained together, and look at that. I just get a nice 4. Okay, so my x value is 4. What does that mean? That means that I have just found, if I was going to plot this intersection point, I've just found the x value. But now, what do we need? We need that y value in order to finish out the point. So how do I find the y value? Well, just like we've said earlier in this lesson, you're going to take your x value, this x equals 4, and you're going to plug it in or substitute it in for one of the equations, the original equations. I'm going to take this first one because it doesn't have a negative in it. I always like to choose the ones that don't have negatives if I can. I'm going to rewrite it here. Okay, now it tells me that y is equal to this stuff, right? I don't know what this stuff is, but what I do know now that I've done all of my calculations over to the left side is I know what x is. X is 4. So I'm going to replace x with a 4, and that's going to help me solve this. Now I just need to simplify. Okay, so simplifying this, all right, just means following our order of operations. I'm going to do this first. 3/2 times 4. Again, I don't know that off the top of my head, so let's do that in the calculator. That gives me a 6. So this is y equals 6 minus 3. Okay, and then 6 minus 3, we know, guys, is 3. So we just found our y value. So we know our x, we know our y. Okay, so putting it together as a point, our solution, okay, is x comma y, right? 4 comma 3, which is what we got when we graphed it. Okay, so that just shows that you can get the same answer 2 different ways. You can get it graphing if you're provided a graph, okay, or you can get it algebra using some algebra if you are not provided a graph. Okay, so both ways are going to be necessary for you guys to know, and you will get more practice with this on your homework. So good work. Finish this up and turn it in and start your homework.